Today is January 19th, 2025. This is second part of SD card boot with a internal hard drive persistence. But part two has to do with UEFI BIOS, not the legacy BIOS. So you have to make sure that you're in UEFI BIOS to follow this video. So right now I booted into Ventor USB stick with a bookworm PUP 64. So to be able to know whether you're legacy or UEFI BIOS, you can, if you don't know, you can go ahead and enter this command here into the terminal. And if there is a positive response, then it is UEFI, and this is to be able to boot from a USB stick. Before I do that, I want to just go ahead and pull out the remove the Ventor USB stick, which is right here. So let me just do that now. It makes it easier to understand and follow. So right now I have an internal hard drive that has no operating system. It is recording the video from the screen, and also has a Linux ISOs. I do have a SD card in USB adapter that's plugged in. So first thing what we have to do is go ahead and get the SD card ready to receive the bookworm PUP 64 files. So we'll just go to the gparted first to partition, and then we'll go to the generic SDG 14 gig. This is fine. And then we want to partition it. First we need to create the partition table, and this, because of UEFI, it should be on GPT file type. So we want to go ahead and of course that will wipe everything out. So, and then what we want to do is start creating some partitions. First partition is going to be EFI partition, and it should be Windows FAT32, and then 300 megabyte is plenty, so we'll go ahead and create that. And then second partition we'll go ahead and create for rest of the for Puppy Linux use. And this I'm gonna make a little space for the Linux swap file. Now you don't need it unless you have a less than 4 gig of RAM. So just give it a little bit more. Gig is fine, and we're gonna make this pups. So, but today we're just gonna install bookworm PUP 64. So ext4 is fine, and then lastly we're gonna make this Linux swap, and then go ahead and apply everything. And then don't forget the last step is to go ahead and manage flags on a first partition. So you should just finish in a second here. So if you're gonna do this, if you don't have a SD card, you can follow pretty much the exactly same thing using a USB stick. So partition and installation, everything is pretty much the same. Just has to be UEFI BIOS. So this is done, and then what we want to do is right click on the first partition on the SD, and then manage flags, and you want to just tick on ESP, and then it'll automatically put a tick on boot, which is all correct. So that's fine. Okay, and then now SD card is properly partitioned, so it can receive the bookworm files. So we're going to close that, and now we have to open up a gparted again. But this time we're going to open up the internal hard drive. Now we're going to make a safe partition where we can go ahead and make a room for save folders of bookworm. So we're going to right click and then new, and then we're going to put a label of SAV for save, partition label. And then we're going to go ahead and click apply, and then OK. So that's all pretty much done. Okay, so the first part is pretty much done. So second part, what we're going to have to do is install proper bookworm files to the SD card. So we'll do that now. We can do that with F12, and then we're going to bring up a frugalpup installers. And we're going to click on frugalpup and settings. We'll be instructing separate save location, which is what we want to tick, and use autosave is already ticked, and OK. And then puppy, and now we're going to be using ISO puppy, that's fine, and OK. And then I have the puppy ISO already here in internal hard drive, so we'll go ahead and minus key, and then ISO is here. Bookworm pup 64 NKB is the ISO that we'll be using, and we'll go ahead and we'll just go ahead and put the ISO over here, and then OK. And then please select the partition that will contain the puppy. So it's going to be under pups, second partition. So pups, OK. And then for organization purposes, if you ever gonna put another puppy Linux, it makes this much easier just to create a folder at this point. So BW for bookworm, and then enter key, and then OK. And then it wants to know where the save folder location is going to be. It's going to be under save partition SDA2. And then within it, we're also going to make a little folder. This time will just be small letter complete save. We'll create, and then OK. So that's where the save folder is going to be. So that's all OK. SDA2 and save folder, that's all correct. And it's creating all the files for proper bootable SD card at this time. Writing to SD card is somewhat slow, so it may take a couple of minutes here, but we'll be patient. We don't have another ISO that we'll be installing today, so what we want to do is we want to go to the boot. And the SDG2 is where we have the puppy files, which is fine, which is correct. BW is correct. And then we'll be writing into SDG1 a grub, so that's where, so it can boot. So that's all correct. And then we'll be UEFI is fine. OK. And then OK. So it's writing into the SDG1, and so that's all done. and this is done, and this is done, and we'll take a look at the SDG1. So minus key, and then we're going to open it up in Genie, and we're going to take a closer look at this grub CFG file. So that's all okay, and just for neatness sake, we'll just go ahead and BW is fine. And then we really don't need the other menus. So then we're going to save it. And then now we will go ahead and reboot. So we'll go ahead and close everything, and we will reboot. Before we reboot though, we want to say you want to remove the Vento USB stick, which we already have done. And we also, you'll ask if when we are ready to leave and go through reboot, it's going to ask whether you want to create a save folder. You want to say no. You do not want to. I have rebooted from the SD card, and then now I have rebooted from the SD card, and I come to this screen here. So quick first setup, we'll just go down and go to America, page down, America and Los Angeles, and then time for internet is fine, and everything else is good, and we'll go ahead and give it an OK. Now we don't have a first save folder yet, so what we want to do is make sure that it does create a save folder in the correct place, which is on the second partition under save. So what we want to do at this point is, since we went through the quick setup, we want to go to leave, and then reboot, and then save here, and then we want to make sure that it is in the SDA2, which is correct here. OK, and then normal is fine. We definitely want to save a folder, and then you can put your name on here if you want, or whatever. You don't need to put anything in, and then you say you want to save. Now if you look at this carefully though, you want to it's SDA2, which is correct, but it's in the wrong folder. It wants to create its own folder, so we don't want that. We want to have that placed in a save folder. Okay, and then I think that I don't want to mess up my recording, so I think that you can go ahead and go through